An anime begins with Jin Wu, a smart but completely shameless troublemaker, and the very first time we see him, he is already gambling with his dumb classmates, tricking them again and again just to steal their money. And his friends are seconds away from turning the classroom into a war zone when the school principal suddenly appears behind him like death itself, catching him red-handed and dragging him straight to the office. And even there, Jin Wu has no shame at all, because when the principal asks why he keeps gambling in class, he calmly says he just wants to get rich, which only makes the principal more furious. So he punishes him and throws him out. But what Jin Wu does not know is that someone else has been watching him this whole time. A strange man who has already finished 99 missions and now has only one left. And that final mission is Jin Wu himself. And once night falls and Jin Wu finishes his punishment, he heads home while staring at the giant platinum tower in the distance, the place where the richest people in the city live, because more than anything, that tower is where he wants to belong one day, and he has been saving money little by little to make that impossible dream come true. But before he can even reach home, small red monsters suddenly begin following him, drawn in by the evil smell coming off his body. And before he can understand what is happening, those creatures gather together and form one huge karma beast right in front of him. But then the mysterious man finally steps in, destroys the monster in one clean hit, and introduces himself as Leanne, the guardian of the city. And he tells Jin Wu that the world runs on a cruel system where every person carries a crime meter. Green means they are still safe, yellow means karma will start hunting them, and red means they are too dangerous to be left alive. And because Jin Wu keeps lying, cheating, and crossing the line, the system has already marked him as someone dangerous enough to attract karma. So Leanne's job is to protect him from those monsters while trying to force him back onto the right path. But if Jin Wu ever reaches the red zone, Leanne will have to kill him without hesitation. Yet even after hearing something that insane, Jin Wu still does not take any of it seriously and simply walks off, leaving Leanne behind. But Leanne chases him anyway until they reach a place full of stray dogs that jump him, giving Jin Wu the perfect chance to run home and lock himself inside, where he happily stuffs his stolen money away like nothing happened, only for the night to get even worse when a giant karma monster crashes through his bedroom window and comes straight for him. And Jin Wu runs for his life while still trying to protect his precious money, which honestly tells you everything about what kind of person he is. And from the rooftop, Leanne watches him suffer for a moment out of pure annoyance, until Jin Wu finally gets cornered in a narrow passage where smaller karma swarm around him from every direction, knocking him to the ground and nearly tearing him apart. And only then does Leanne jump in, wipe out the smaller monsters, and prepare to fight the giant one. But now that beast has absorbed even more evil energy from Jin Wu and become much stronger, so Jin Wu quickly realizes they cannot fight it. There, or innocent people will die. And for once, his brain actually works, because he leads Leanne and the giant karma to an abandoned building and comes up with a plan to collapse the whole structure on top of it, marking the weak points on the pillars so Leanne can destroy them one by one. And everything almost works until Leanne suddenly loses contact with him, finds only the crime meter on the floor, and realizes too late that Jin Wu never planned to save him at all, because that sneaky idiot tried to bury both Leanne and the monster together while he escaped outside, and for 1 second Jin Wu actually thinks he won. But then Leanne bursts out of the rubble completely unharmed and so angry that he decides Jin Wu needs a lesson. So he puts a curse on him called Pinocchio Dumia, except instead of making his nose grow when he lies, it makes his hair grow longer and longer every single time he tells another lie. And the only way to break the curse is to earn forgiveness from every person he deceived, which turns Jin Wu's life into instant misery. And that same night he dreams about a strange little boy calling him brother, which shakes him more than he wants to admit. But the next morning things get even stranger when he finds Leanne casually cooking breakfast in his kitchen, fixing the broken window, and explaining that while he is assigned to guard Jin Wu, he cannot move more than 100 meters away from him. So whether Jin Wu likes it or not, they are stuck together now. And when Jin Wu tries to ignore that and rush to school alone, he slams face first into an invisible wall the second he crosses the distance limit, forcing him to drag Leanne along with him. And at school, Jin Wu starts apologizing to the people he cheated because he wants the curse gone as fast as possible. But when one girl asks who he is talking to and cannot see Leanne, Jin Wu lies to cover it up, and his hair immediately shoots longer again, making him panic and run off, only for more karma to appear that night and force Leanne to protect him all over again. And after the fight, Leanne explains that these are still the weak kind, because the real nightmare is legendary karma, monsters in human form so dangerous that even guardians can die against them. And while Jin Wu is still trying to finish his apologies, one of those legendary beings finally enters the city, and its arrival is so violent that even the police are wiped out in seconds, while Leanne starts noticing something unsettling about Jin Wu, because the system calls him evil. Yet compared to the true monsters now rampaging through the city. Jin Wu almost feels more like a lost kid than an actual villain, and that is when every guardian receives an emergency order from the system saying they must abandon their missions at once and return to headquarters because a legendary karma is massacring the city. But in order to leave, they first have to end their current task, which means any human still marked as evil must be killed immediately, and one by one guardians start executing the people they were supposed to watch until Leanne finally receives the same order for Jin Wu, and standing right behind him, ready to strike, only for his teacher's old words to suddenly hit him. That truly evil people are rare, and most of the rest are just people who lost their way. And that thought is enough to make him snap. So instead of striking Jin Wu, Leanne destroys the barrier and tells him to hurry up and apologize to the last person he lied to, because this is the final chance he is willing to give him. And then the two of them reach the house of the final person, and Leanne leaves Jin Wu there, warning him not to come looking for him once that last person forgives him, because the moment that happens, Leanne's duty will finally end, and the last person turns out to be Teacher Wen. So Jin Wu apologizes for everything, but Wen refuses to forgive him unless he writes a full 5,000-word apology letter, and Jin Wu asks to write it there in his house while outside Leanne waits nervously at the 100-meter limit, hoping Wen will forgive Jin Wu soon, so he can escape back to headquarters. Because if he runs into the legendary karma in that state, he cannot beat it, and he cannot even flee because of the distance rule, which means he will die on the spot unless he kills Jin Wu and breaks free. And while Leanne is trapped in that desperate thought, he suddenly hears something behind him, the sound of the legendary karma approaching. And the worst part is that Wen still refuses to forgive Jin Wu and orders him to rewrite the entire 5,000 words from the beginning, while somewhere else, Goto, the legendary one, activates his terrifying power and sends hundreds of karma beasts after Leanne. And now Leanne's only hope is to hold out until Wen forgives Jin Wu so he can leave. But a single blow from one of the monsters smashes into him so hard his body nearly breaks from the impact, and the creatures gather around him from every side. And although Leanne keeps killing them, they just do not stop. So he finally uses his divine puppet, a giant Pinocchio-like guardian doll that swells into a huge beast and starts tearing through the karma one after another, and Leanne charges at Goto himself. But in that very instant, a dark force tears through his body and reveals another terrifying karma at Goto's side, one that looks human too, and feels almost as dangerous as Goto himself. And at that exact moment, Jin Wu hears the sounds of the battle and realizes Leanne will never escape unless Wen forgives him. So he begs his teacher one more time, but it is useless because Jin Wu's lies ruined Wen's life, and the man has no intention of forgiving him at all. And that is where Jin Wu finally explodes, knocking Wen unconscious in pure anger before sprinting with everything he has toward Leanne. And when he gets there, the fight is already collapsing. The Pinocchio doll has been destroyed in an instant. Goto's power is so monstrous that even Leanne's weapon cannot pierce him, and Jin Wu arrives just in time to see Leanne broken and motionless on the ground, while Goto calmly explains that guardians are nothing more than artificial shells created by humans, empty vessels fused with a warrior cube so humans can manufacture guardians. And even though Leanne looks human, he is really just a container for the cube's warrior personality. And hearing that sends Then in a flash, both Jin Wu and Leanne vanish from in front of Goto, making him summon a giant beast to search the hole. He suddenly senses movement behind him and turns too late, only to crash into a car and trigger a violent explosion. While far away, Jin Wu somehow makes it back home with Leanne, and that blood causes something insane to happen. Because inside the empty shell, a hidden personality awakens. Not Leanne, but another one. A far more dangerous and sinister identity named Mien, who had remained buried inside the body ever. All that Goto still rises from the wreckage and activates his power again, only to suddenly freeze when he looks at Mien's face like he has seen that body before. And the moment Mien says his name, real fear flashes across Goto's face, because it drags up fragments of his past. But instead of backing down, Goto directs all of that rage at Mien, and the fight is about to explode again when dozens of other mysterious warriors suddenly enter the battlefield, all masked, all identical, and no one knows who they are or where they came from. And to understand that, we are thrown slightly backward to the moment Goto first entered the city, where those people found every guard at the city entrance already dead. So they called the special forces, but masked agents appeared, manipulated the police into forgetting what happened, and those agents turn out to be the system administration, the group responsible for handling legendary karma, and now they have finally arrived to take Goto down, using a sealing spell to trap him. And in that instant, Goto's past surges back, his power erupts, and he releases hundreds of monsters to attack the system warriors. But just when he is about to evolve those beasts even further, another legendary karma appears from the sky and stops the evolution because it is too dangerous. Apologizing to the system for the mess to the King of Lies is pointless, so Mien finally tells him the truth, that Leanne will come back. And that is enough for Jin Wu to put the cube back into the body, thanking Mion for saving them and promising they will probably meet again someday, while Mion gives him one last warning: never tell Leanne what happened here. And with that, Mion loses consciousness and Leanne's personality returns. But and as if that was not bad enough, another organization has now entered the game as well, one that secretly watches the movements of the system itself. Back in the present, Jin Wu has already taken Leanne to the hospital, only to notice something creepy. Despite all the destruction in the city, no one remembers a thing, because the system cleaned everything up and erased everyone's memories, and 3 days pass with Leanne still unconscious in the hospital, while Jin Wu sits there crying over the money he is forced to spend on treatment, acting more hurt over the bills than the injuries, until a huge car suddenly pulls up behind him and unknown people kidnap him. And even with a gun pointed at his head, the weirdest part is that Jin Wu passes the 100-meter limit without any invisible wall appearing, which is because the indicator was broken during the battle with Goto. And the old man with him casually says there is no point waiting for a guardian anymore because guardians cannot harm humans anyway, so they are basically useless, and Jin Wu has no idea what the old man is talking about until they reach a massive mansion. And the moment the door opens, 5 beautiful maids pull him inside, while at the same time Leanne, whose consciousness is finally starting to return, remembers the moment the cube left his body, realizes the indicator is gone, and understands that Jin Wu must have crossed the limit, so he leaves the hospital at once to go search for him, while Jin Wu, completely clueless about what is coming next, is already sitting comfortably inside the mansion, eating well and getting treated like a king, just as the executive master of the house finally arrives. Jin Wu soon learns that the man who kidnapped him is the head of the biggest company in the country, but of course Jin Wu had no idea who they were because he did not even own a TV, so the president explains that his family is the one that built the Platinum Clock Tower. Yet despite all that power, their family is now facing a huge crisis because his older brother died 3 years ago and left a will saying that all the family wealth should go to his only son, but that son disappeared and no one knows where he is. And if the president cannot find him within a month, the entire fortune will be lost. So he offers Jin Wu a deal. Since Jin Wu is the only person who looks like the missing nephew, he wants him to pretend to be that boy, and Jin Wu immediately calls it what it is, a scam. But the president already knows exactly what kind of person Jin Wu is, because he gathered information on him and knows Jin Wu's whole specialty is tricking people. And he also knows Jin Wu's biggest dream is to live in the Platinum Tower. So he tries to crush him with that dream, promising him millions and a life in the tower if he agrees to play the role. But Jin Wu refuses, not because the deal is bad, but because he hates that the president tried to pressure him into it, and that turns out to be a deadly mistake because in this mansion, anyone who rejects the president's offer gets killed, and the maids are not ordinary servants at all. They are trained killers personally raised to serve him, and in the next second, they all pull out weapons and point them at Jin Wu, and one explosive blast tears through the wall, but when they look again, Jin Wu is already gone, because he escaped through the wreckage and the maids start hunting him all over the mansion, and just before they catch him, Leanne shows up and saves him, though he immediately grabs Jin Wu by the collar too, because the mission counter he had collected through all his work to get promoted has now been destroyed. And before they can even argue, one of the maids attacks again and smashes the floor apart, forcing Jin Wu and Leanne to keep running deeper into the mansion until they hide in a room. But Leanne cannot properly fight back because guardians are not allowed to harm ordinary humans. And right there, while remembering everything Jin Wu has done for him, he asks him one simple question: "Are we friends now?" And when Jin Wu says yes, that answer decides everything for Leanne, because the next second he charges the maids without hesitation, drops some of them in a single blow, and for a moment it looks like he is finally going to fight for real. But then all 5 of them gather around him and start mocking him, saying he is scared of punishment and cannot even touch them. And there is really only one way out. He would have to kill them all. And for one dangerous instant, Leanne actually decides he is going to do it, but at the last second Jin Wu stops him before he crosses that line, and the 2 of them escape together. Except this is far from over, because the moment the president learns Jin Wu has escaped, he orders the entire maid corps to search the whole mansion and kill both of them on sight. And the situation becomes even worse when a message reaches Ivan, the legendary guardian so strong that he once killed a monster with a single shot. And the message says Leanne has broken the rules, lost the indicator, and even injured normal humans. And now Ivan is already on his way, while inside the mansion Leon keeps retreating with Jin Wu, barely holding off the maids because he still cannot fully fight them. And soon there is nowhere left to run, with enemies closing in from every side. So in one desperate move, Leanne points his gun upward and fires all his bullets into the ceiling, collapsing it to shield them from the squad's attack. But that also traps both of them inside with no exit. And yes, that That was the only way Leanne could think of to keep Jin Wu alive, while outside the president smugly believes this is the end for both of them. Only he forgot one thing. Ivan is here now, and Ivan is the one guardian with no limits at all. Ivan crushed the Black Beast with a single strike, and the soldiers who had surrounded him from every direction were wiped out by the lightning bursting from his body. Even the tanks joined the attack, yet he pulled the electricity into himself and changed into a far more terrifying form. One blow tore a tank cleanly in half, and only then did the enemy finally understand what was happening, but the realization came far too late because Ivan had already reached him. Elsewhere, the moment Leanne sensed Ivan's arrival, he knew something had gone wrong and that he needed to act quickly. Because of that, both sides asked the Legion for a temporary truce, and Leanne warned them that they had to escape. The president was going to flee the country sooner or later, and anyone who stayed behind would be destroyed alongside him. For the first time, Hask felt that Leanne was treating them like human beings instead of slaves, the same way he had once felt around Oji, the president's older brother. That was enough to make them decide to leave the place. Mongol and Leanne escaped as well, while the president desperately tried to order the Legion to protect him. Instead, they pushed him away as though he meant nothing to them. He was about to start shouting, but one of them filled the area with bullets and made it clear that one more word would cost him his life. They had served him only because of his brother Oji. Even the old servant who had worked for the family for 30 years was someone whose name the president had never bothered to learn. He had never cared enough to ask, and now the entire family had finally collapsed. That was the moment Ivan entered, and he had not come alone. Soldiers of the system arrived with him, and they were the ones who would deal with the president. The man tried to run in terror, but his end had already reached him. The soldiers planned to erase the memories of every human in the area, and even Leanne was frightened by them. Their loyalty belonged only to the system and the city. They felt nothing, and any threat could be removed in a single instant. One of the soldiers moved to erase Mangol's human memories from the entire region, yet Ivan arrived at the right time and saved him. He was furious with Leanne for what he had done, but Mangol stepped between them and explained everything. Leanne had been forced to face the humans, which was why the system decided to give him one more chance. He would return as a temporary supervisor, though not to his former position yet, and another supervisor would need to watch him for some time. Meanwhile, Mangol would remain marked as evil until Leanne regained his rank. For that reason, Leanne and Mangol were ordered to follow Ivan wherever he went, with Mangol watching Leanne while Leanne protected him. The three soon left the place, and their first destination was the headquarters of a gang known as the 13. When Ivan entered, the gang members assumed he was weak. One of them rushed him with a fast attack, but Ivan caught him easily with one hand and smashed him into the ground, destroying the surrounding area along with him. Leanne and Mangol watched from outside, and it became clear that every supervisor had a different way of dealing with criminals. Ivan answered violence with even greater violence, though only after crushing every last bit of resistance inside them. Once he had broken the gang completely, he ordered them to protect the city, proving that even thugs were still capable of having some dignity. After Ivan finished the mission, the three moved on, although the tension between them had not fully disappeared. Their next destination was the city where Leanne had to complete a new assignment involving a 10-year-old child. Ivan and Leanne followed her until they reached the lowest floor of the building.